Uh, there it is. There we are. Yeah, I work with someone uh, back when I was young and pretty, and I will never forget that guy. His name was Jason, and Jason was married to a Brazilian woman. And every time that I approached Jason, this was when I worked. Uh, People won't know, but I worked at Gap Inc. for a while. I was an assistant manager before I came to work with Moto. And Jason was a very nice guy. He was an electrician, and uh, he had his job, but he had a part-time job with us at Gap. He was a very nice guy. And every time that I approached Jason and talked to him and I asked him how he was doing, he would always say, Miguel, even if I wasn't doing good, I don't think you will want me to say that I was doing bad. And that stuck with me up to this day. So yes, I'm doing amazing. And he would always list all these things about why he was doing so good, right? Rather than, yes, yes, because there's a lot of negative already in the world. He would just decide not to do that. I need to log in here because it looks like it logged me out. Meanwhile, people are getting here. Meanwhile, people are still eating some stuff. Uh, okay, here we are. Good, ready to go. Now, formally, good evening. Welcome tonight. Welcome to people that are viewing this online. Um, we have been sending you guys text messages about the events. If you guys want to come physically, we're doing them physically, but we're also doing transmissions online. So the people that cannot make it, some clients that told us they cannot make it, we're doing a live transmission through YouTube and Facebook. And so I want to say hi to whoever is listening to us right now. So be on your best behavior. You're on camera. Okay. I know. They're not watching you, they're watching me, but they will know through my eyes what you guys are doing. So yeah, now they know that you're eating because I just said that out loud. And drinking some wine, which is good. Today's subject, it's social security. I wanted to talk about uh, something in regards of social security. I think that it's an important subject. There's a couple things here and there that people don't know about social. There has been a lot said about social going bankrupt. I don't know if you heard that. Have you guys, how many of you have heard that social security is going to go bankrupt? How many of you guys believe that social security is going bankrupt? Truly. That's interesting. Um, so the reason why I bring this up and I want to go about that. I want to give you some pointers. I want to give you some information. A lot of the reasons of why people or mostly newspapers, and just news in general have been talking about Social Security specifically over the last 2 years going bankrupt is for different factors. So one of those factors is the baby boomers, the biggest generation that has ever existed, right? About 76 million people born after the war, right? So right now we got a rate, an average of 10,000 baby boomers retiring per day. That's a lot. Yes, that's a lot of people. That's 10,000 more people claiming benefits. So when you see that rate going up so much, then the government starts getting worried and people start making calculations about how much longer will the trust fund be able to pay those benefits if people keep retiring at this pace, right? Now, these are just interesting points that I like to bring up to your attention, right? By 2031, all baby boomers, all of that huge generation, it's going to reach the age of 67. Okay, why am I bringing 67 into this conversation? Because 67 nowadays is considered full retirement age, which is when a person will be entitled to claiming all the benefits. So by 2031, even the baby boomers that are waiting, that are holding back from receiving that Social Security check, will be eligible to get that maximum check. So by 2031, we'll have all of the baby boomers taking that, cashing out on Social Security. Okay, and that's important to know. Now, some studies have found out that about only 14% of those baby boomers have an actual written strategy for retirement. Only 14% of baby boomers nowadays have an actual strategy for retirement. That means there's another 86% that don't. Okay, and this is true. You guys see it every day. You guys see people in their elder years continuing to work, right? And that's because they have to. They never plan for it. Now, thankfully, if you're a client of ours, we have done some planning. If you are retired, the intention is for you to remain retired and be able to have enough income, enough resources to go for the rest of your life. If you're still working and you're still our client, we already have a plan in place for you to reach that goal. Okay, and that's important. A lot of people don't ever pay attention to it. I was meeting with a client, a prospect today that's 33 years old. And I was happy for that meeting because this guy actually follows Sebastian on social media and he took action. Okay, he has a baby that's 4 years old, and I guess the baby kicked in and he's now starting to think as a dad. And one of those things that came up probably was, I'm not here. I'll be here after 8. No problem. Just messing with you. And one of those things that probably kicked into him was, hey, I don't have a retirement plan. And this kid is 33 years old and he has been offered a 401k through his job and he doesn't have it. He hasn't taken advantage of that. So that was like my first conversation with this kid, right? I call him a kid, but he could be about my age. But it's important. It's important to have a strategy, to have a plan, right? 52% plan to continue to work after retirement. Okay, there's nothing wrong with working, by the way. I don't oppose to work. Now, here at Guerra Financial Group, we want you to get to a point in your life where work is an option and not an obligation, right? So you go to work because you feel like going to work. You go to work because you like what you do. You go to work because it fulfills something in you, but not because you have to make ends meet, right? not because you need that job to pay for your light bill or your water bill or your gas or food or anything like that. So we want to get you to that point. And I guess most of that 86% is planning to just continue to work. And the reason is income and health, right? More income or health care that they might not have. 36% expect Social Security to be their main source of income. You guys already know. I'll say these are the crazy people, because obviously nowadays nobody can live on Social Security. You know, as much low in expenses as you can have. You know, we won't consider that Social Security will be enough to cover that. But hey, living under a bridge is free, so maybe that works, you know, as long as you have that. So I wanted to give you a few pointers, because we're talking about whether Social Security is going bankrupt or not, right? And I want to clarify that. There's a lot of myths and legends on the street about what's going on with Social. So I like to clarify that. So there's something called the OASI, the Old Age and Survivors Insurance Trust Fund. And that trust fund it's evaluated every year, okay, based on the benefits that are being claimed. Now, the last evaluation that they did, the last monitoring they did, said that the trust will be able to pay 100% of the benefits that they're currently paying today up to 2034. Okay, that doesn't mean that the trust is going to go away in 2034. That means that they're going to continue to pay the same benefits that you guys are claiming up to 2034. Okay, now the study shows that after 2034, the trust fund will only be able to pay 77%. So everybody that's receiving benefits today will have to take a pay cut, basically. Yeah, I know. That's that's something that we don't want to hear, right? But this is in 2034. Now, the Congress needs to make some changes. They have already done changes in the past. Okay, one of those changes was back in 1983, right, where they increased the full retirement age. I don't know if you guys knew, but the full retirement age initially for Social Security was 62. And then it went from 62 to 65 to 66. And now it is 67, right? So one of the changes that they could make is increase that age again. And we got another 11 years to do that, right? So Congress has been delaying that process because they don't want to make that decision. Usually, if you're a congressman or congresswoman, you don't want to be the one to be pointed at because you increase the Social Security age, right? But that's gotta happen. That's something that's going to happen, okay, in the few coming years, I would say, right? So some of the changes will be increasing that full retirement age, maybe moving it to 68 or 70 already. I don't know. Another change that they could do is increasing the FICA tax, which currently is about a 6.2%. So they could charge more taxes on payroll, okay? So that means more deductions for the ones that are working, so that the system can continue to work, okay? The other one is increasing the cap on Social Security payroll contributions. So the current cap on payroll contributions is $160,200. That means that anybody that's making money above the $160,200 doesn't get charged more for Social. That's the maximum. That's where it caps out. So they could increase that. And the government has spoken about actually counting all income for Social Security, which wouldn't be fair, but they could also increase that. They increase that annually, but just a tiny bit. I can tell you that I believe it was by 2011, this was only about 76,000. So it has increased. It has almost doubled, okay, that cap. They could also lower COLA, cost of living adjustment. That one we don't like that much. because that's the adjustment based on inflation. That's that sweet 8.7% that whoever is receiving social got this year. And that was good, right? That felt good. That felt like it's fair. So I don't think that's going to be one option, but it could be. Or they could lower the benefits on social overall. Now, the answer to the question whether Social Security is going to go bankrupt or not, it's no. Social Security will not go bankrupt. What's going to happen is we're going to peak in 2034, and then benefits will drop if there's no changes that are made to the system. Okay? Now, they constantly monitor this trust fund and they see how much taxes are willing to continue to cover. And it looks like with the rate that we're going, when Social Security started, we had about 15 workers paying one individual's pension when this started. We are down to 3 workers paying one individual pension. And it's looking like we're going to go down to 2 by the time that we get there to 2034. Okay? At the pace that we're going, because of the amount of baby boomers retiring, because of the amount of money being taken out, because of the workforce maybe not growing. So we're going to have to expect more growth, right? On the workers' end. So all these things need to change, and Congress has a lot to say on this, right? We don't get to say much. We get to pay the taxes and just try to do the best. And us as advisors get to guide you on what would be the best conditions for you to pull the trigger on Social Security and how to maximize benefits, as long as you can maximize benefits, right? So I want to let you know that because I was reading a few articles on that. Now, a lot of the times what we do get is questions from people, and they always ask, how is Social Security calculated? It's a little complex formula, okay? I broke it down for you. The math people will probably love this, and the people that like all those details will love this, and if you have the time, go do the math. But it's a little complex. So the first thing you got to do is calculate what is called the average index monthly earnings. The average index monthly earnings, it's the earnings that you had over the highest 35 years of your career. Okay? The highest 35 years of salary or income that you declare. You got to add those 35 years, and then you're going to divide that number by 420, which is the equivalency to the months in 35 years. That's going to give you the average index monthly earnings. And then you get to apply what they call the bend points, the bending points. Okay? Now, they have different bending points. The first bending point, and I guess I did hide it in here. But the first bending point, it's 1,115. Okay? From that average, so let's say that you do the math for those 35 years, you get the average monthly earnings, and your monthly earnings in case A is 5,052. Okay? If your monthly earnings average is 5,052, the first 1,115, they will get 90% of that number. Okay? It will multiply 1,115 times 90%. Now, above the 1,115, all the way up to 6,721, they will get 32% of that difference. Okay? As you guys see here in the formula. So in the first case, if your average monthly earnings, the average index monthly earnings was about $5,000, your benefit will be somewhere around $2,263. Okay? Now, I know that there are a lot of math people here, and you guys like to know, like, what are the details? And we can figure this one out ourselves. If a person has this type of average index monthly earnings is because throughout those 35 years of work, they made about $2,121,840. Okay, so if you earn about $2,100,000 in your 35 highest years of work, you're gonna fall around here, and therefore your benefit is gonna start at 2,263. Okay, if you did better than that, if you made more money throughout those 35 years, right, and you landed double the amount, right, 10,503, which means that you ended up making $4,411,000, then your average index monthly earnings, it's about $10,000, right? And then at that point, we got to do the bend points, and you got $3,000 on benefits. These are calculations that you guys can get off the website, but truly, most people don't ever go and do the calculation. Now they do have a calculator on the website that you could access to, and you could look at the projection that they have. And you could also play around with your income if you're still working. Okay, if you haven't pulled the trigger on social, I will encourage you to actually log into the website, create that account, and play with it. Or come see one of our advisors and we can go around and look at what are the best options for you. Okay, any questions about this or the formula at all? No? Okay. I guess we got to trust them on that. Now, yeah, one question that I always get, and I got this question actually yesterday. I had a meeting with a teacher. She's actually an assistant principal at an elementary school nearby. And she came with her mother. And the mother was actually asking more questions than her. And one of the questions that she asked was in regards of Social Security. So I thought, we're going to talk about Social Security tomorrow. Let me break down these numbers. Let me see how they play out so that everyone can actually visualize what it is. So this is what I call the break-even points. A lot of people always ask us, what's the best for me to do in regards of triggering that benefit from Social Security? What age is the best, right? So I want to tell you that the first thing that we want to consider for that is look at your health situation, look at your health history, see how you're doing, see your family history as well, the life expectancy in your family. Obviously, I wish I would know when I'm going to die, but I don't know. But I do know that I do take care of myself. I exercise regularly, eat well, and all that stuff. And I know that my grandparents are in the high 90s right now, and my father and my mother look amazing for 70 and 63. So, I figure my life expectancy is going to be a long one, right? Now, there's no way I can assure that, because we just went through a pandemic and we lost a lot of people through an event that was unexpected, right? But you got to pay attention to that, right, before making this decision. Now, if you don't want to pay attention to all those details and you just want to look at the numbers and the money, then that's when we come into play. Okay, that's where we are. So, looking at the previous example, the full retirement benefit for that person was going to be about 2,263. And full retirement age, as we spoke about, anybody that was born after 1960, their full retirement age is 67 already. So at full retirement age, that benefit will be about 2,263. When people decide to retire earlier, Social Security will allow you to retire earlier, but they will tell you you're going to get only 70% of your benefit. We're going to take 30% away, and they take a pay cut to that 1,584. Okay, so if you want to pull the trigger earlier on social, you could. There's nothing wrong. And like some people will say, well, we'll start getting more money earlier, right? Completely fine. There's no problem with that. But you lose 30% of the benefit, right? Now, there are other people, there's others that want to continue to work, like my dad. He's 70, he's still working, and they want to hold off to get a higher benefit. If you do delay that benefit, then every year that you delay it by, it's going to grow by 8%. So instead of being those $2,263, it'll become $2,806 by age 70. Okay. Now, what I did is I calculated how much money will this individual retiring at 62, this individual retiring at 67, and the one retiring at 70 will get in a year. So the one at 62 will receive about $19,000 a year. The one at 67 will get about $27,000. That's a big difference, right? However, there's a difference of 5 years. There's $19,000 that this person has been receiving for about 5 years, right? Before the 67-year-old starts actually collecting social. And then the one at 70 is going to be receiving about $33,000 a year, right? So I decided to calculate life expectancy, right? Obviously, we don't know when we're going to pass away, but some people say, I'm going to have a short life. I'm not going to make it to 70. Sometimes I hear people say that, and you'll be surprised. It's a lot of times I hear that, more than anything. So if you live up to age 70, I can tell you already, you're better off retiring at 60. You're going to collect the most money by age 70. By age 70, the person that retired at 62 is going to end up collecting $152,000. The person that retired at 67, it's about $81,000. And the one that delayed retirement, it's only going to get obviously 1 year, $33,000. So that person, it's not, not lucky enough to enjoy the retirement benefits, right? Now, if we move up in age, 75 or 80, we know that the break-even point falls between 75 and 80 for the ages of 62 and 67. As you guys can see the numbers, the person that retires at 62 at age 65 would have collected $247,000, and the 67-year-old will be only $30,000 away from it. So that means that after 75 or about 79, it's the actual number, 78, 79, the 67 makes more sense in terms of dollars, right? So at this point, we're not paying attention to all that emotional thing and the family health and all that stuff. It's just money-wise, right? So money-wise, I always make a joke. And yes, it is a joke, but it's not a joke. But if you expect to live past the age of 79, 67 will be more convenient for you. If your life expectancy is not that far away, then 62 will make more sense. Now, for the ones that are planning to retire at 62, okay, which is early retirement, there's only one thing that I gotta tell you. And it is that if you decide to retire from Social Security at 62, but continue to work, okay, you continue to have earned income, there is a maximum that you can collect. And that maximum is about $21,000. Okay? So if you're working and you're early retired from Social Security, but you're still working, the maximum earnings that you could get is about $21,000. If you go above the $21,000, guess what? There is a penalty. They charge $1 for every $2 that you earn above the $21,000. Okay? So if you're still working and you're making about $40,000, then that's another $19,000 above the 21. So that means that the penalty for that extra $19,000 is going to be how much? $9,500. Right? that penalty is all the way up to full retirement age. So anywhere from 62 all the way to full retirement age, whatever your full retirement age is, right? Some people is 67, some people it could be 66 and 10 months, because I know some baby boomers have a different retirement age, depending on the year that they were born, right? But yes, if you are under the full retirement age, this applies to you, okay? And the way that they collect this $9,500 is not like they send you a tax bill or they send you an account where you can pay that money back. Remember, they're the ones sending you the check. So what they do is they will suspend that check until they collect the $9,500. So if it was the case of this person that was retired early, that person will lose the benefit for about half of the year. Okay, so they will collect the first year, and then the second year, half of the year, they won't collect it. They won't get a single dollar. Yes, so not so good. So I always tell people, pay attention if you're doing that. When I have business owners as clients, some business owners decide to go and you know, pay themselves very low, pay the wife or pay somebody else more money, right? But the ones that are employees that receive a W-2, there's no way to do that, okay? So I always like to tell people that if you're thinking about starting that benefit early and continuing to work, some people might want to do that. Now, obviously, the longer you leave, as you see on the table, the more it makes sense to take it at 70. We don't ever recommend people to take it at 70, honestly, because it's delaying it too much, right? And you don't get to enjoy it. We always tell people to take it at full retirement, you know, at minimum, because at that point, if you want to continue to work because you're still working or you have your business or, you know, you enjoy what you do, then you're not going to be penalized. And you can get your full Social Security and do something else with it, right? If you don't know what to do with that Social Security benefit, I know some financial advisors that could help you with it. Okay, so any questions about this? It was pretty clear for people, right? Now, we're not telling you to wait until 67 either. If you want to pull the trigger at 62, you can. All I'm telling you is, if you pull the trigger at 62, don't work and make more than 21,000. Yes, of course.
Let's say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No. After 67, after full retirement age, there is no penalty. Yeah. After full retirement age, you could be making $2 million in your company, no penalty. Yeah. Now, what's going to happen is that Social Security is going to be taxable, which is something that we don't like. But there's no penalty. Yeah, he's looking like, what? Yeah, I know. If they don't get you on one, they get you on the other side, but they get you.
So they do have like another bracket for like if you decide to retire at 63 or 64. They have a progressive.
Yes, bracket. It's a progressive thing every year, right? The longer you wait, the closer that number gets to the 2,263. Yes, that is the way that it works. Remember that I told you my advice is go onto the website, play around with the calculator. If you haven't been there, come to a meeting with one of the advisors, tell them, hey, Miguel was talking about the Social Security calculator that you could go and play around with. I want to see that in action. And you guys show me that. Now, if you come to an appointment, bring your password, bring your login. Because most of the time when we don't have those logins, we spend the entire meeting trying to trying to get the password change, and we kill the time there, and we're not able to actually do the work. So I'll suggest you come up with it, and then we can play around with it, and you'll see how fun it is. Because then you can project that retirement by age, but you could also take into consideration if your income is going to increase or your income is going to decrease. It's very useful for business owners, by the way. Business owners get to see if they increase their income by 10 grand or 20 grand or 50 grand, how much more pension is that going to signify for them in the future? Or if it doesn't make sense. And then at that point, they can make the decision. All right, I'm not going to increase my income, I'm going to keep it lower to pay lower taxes. But now I already know that my benefit is going to be a lower benefit. And I always tell business owners, I don't have a problem with you doing that as long as you're saving for that retirement. So that money that you're saving in taxes that you're not paying Uncle Sam, that you're not putting away for social, put it away somewhere else. Have it grow so that you can use it in the future, right? So that's the idea there. But that's a really good question. Okay. Yes, it is progressive. Last but not least, social will become taxable, as you express, if you start earning more money, right? And you don't get the penalty, but you're earning more than a certain threshold they have, then Social Security will become taxable. I spoke about this when I did the tax seminar last time, by the way. I brought this into conversation because people think that Social Security is not taxable. Okay, now Social Security might not be taxable for some people, but if you earn more than X amount of money, then it will become taxable. Okay, now the conditions are the following. For you to know if your Social Security benefits are going to be taxable, you got to find out something called combined income. Okay, now combined income, as it says it here, is the adjusted gross income, your adjusted gross income, which is wages and tips and earned income. So adjusted gross income plus half of your Social Security benefits plus any non-taxable interest. So if you have a municipal bond or you have a Roth IRA that's providing income. Okay, so you got to add half of your Social Security. If we take, let's take the example of the previous number, right? If we take this guy that's receiving $2,263 a month, which is about $27,000, $27,156 a year, right? They take half of that. So half of that would be 27,156. I'll be 13,578. Okay, that's half of Social Security. Let's say that this individual doesn't have any non-taxable interest, doesn't have any municipal bonds or any Roth IRAs because he didn't plan. So this will be zero. But this individual continues to work and he's still earning money. How much money do you guys want this individual to continue to earn? Let's say that he's doing it part-time. He's making how much? What? 20,000? 30,000? Give or take, right? So let's say that he's making $20,000 as a part-time employee. If you add those, that'll be about 33,578, right? If this person is filing taxes as an individual, not as a joint return, say that he's single, then anything between 25,000 and 34,000 will automatically put him in paying taxes for 50% of the benefits that he receives from social. Okay, so in this case, he's at $33,000. That means that half of his social, so 13,578, when he fills out his 1040, half of his social is going to be considered for taxes. Okay? Now, if he is filing jointly and he falls between 32 and 44, up to 50% of the benefits will be considered for tax. Okay? So anybody that is under the 32,000 mark or the 25,000 mark, those are the people that don't have to pay taxes on social. Okay? So if you expect to have more income coming through when you get to retirement and you start pulling that Social Security check, then that might become taxable. And yes, I'm not the government, don't kill me. They're taxing you twice on that money. I agree 100% with you. So at that point, what do? Quit working? That's an option, so I don't have to pay them, right? Or quit working. Or just pay the taxes, right? What we will tell most people is take the benefit at 67. Even if you're paying the taxes, at least you get to enjoy some of the money, right? At least you get to do something else with the money, or prepare for legacy, or just give money away, or take more vacation, or whatever you guys decide to do, right? Is an additional $27,000. Even if you're paying taxes on this, and the tax bracket that you fall in is a 22% tax, you're still got enough money to, you know, go a couple times to Europe, enjoy a couple of drinks here and there, have a few nice dinners, right? So yeah, it makes sense. Or take the money, invest it with Guerra Financial. That's another option if you're not going to use it, right? So I wanted to bring that up as well because I thought it was important. There's one benefit that people ask me about a lot, and it's the spousal benefit. So if one of the spouses did not work and did not pay taxes for Social Security, they are entitled to the spousal benefit as long as they're still married to that person, okay, and they are over the age of 62. Now, the maximum that they can get is up to 50% of the benefits. So let's say that this individual whose benefit was 2,000, I think it was 2,256, was the only one that worked in the family. His wife never worked, right? She is entitled to get this spousal benefit. And if she waits until her full retirement age, meaning 67, then at 67, she will get 50% of this amount. So she will get about 1,128. Okay? That is in addition to the 2256. Yes, sir. That is not taking money away from him. That is an additional benefit. Yes. So at 67, the maximum amount will be 50%. If they decide to pull the trigger at 62, guess what's going to happen? They can take it, but it's going to be lower. It's going to be, I believe at 62, it's going to be around, at 62 is like 32% of this benefit. It's going to be somewhere around that. Okay?
Can I ask something?
Yes. Sure.
If you start
Mm-hmm.
title benefit,
Oh, that is a good question.
you're not
That is a good question.
to tell me
Yes, that is a good question. So there are, yeah, there are several entities, okay, governmental entities that do not pay taxes for Social Security because they have private pension plans. Okay, civil service is one of them. The railroads. We have a client that works for Amtrak, and he already retired. They have a pension. They have their own pension. Never paid for social, so he has the pension from Amtrak. Okay. What's the other one? There's a few. There is a few that have their own pension and they don't pay for Social Security benefits. So
it's a double dip.
yes, I know.
No, if the wife did
It should. Right. It shouldn't exclude, right? But once again, I'm not the government. The government makes the rules, and they decide what they want to include and what they don't want to include. They don't include that one. They call it double dipping. As a matter of fact, if you were an immigrant and you have a pension from another country, when you get Social Security, they will lower your benefit if they know that you have another pension coming from somewhere else. They will consider that pension to lower your benefit. Yeah. So if you have a pension elsewhere, keep it there.
Yeah.
Do not disclose or whatever, because most likely they will just readjust it, right? And I know it wouldn't make sense, but those are the rules, right? There's a lot of rules that don't make sense, but they are the rules.
What about if you have a pension from a company here in the U.S.?
A private pension, you mean?
Yeah.
So let's say you work for let me think about a company, UPS, FedEx. They have a pension. They have a private pension fund, right?
Yes.
That has nothing to do with your Social Security. Throughout your working career, you pay taxes. You pay FICA taxes. And so if you pay those FICA taxes, you're entitled to your Social Security. Now, your pension plan through the company, that is a blessing, because those don't exist anymore. Those have been taken away. I mean, that's like finding a unicorn nowadays. Okay, that's a very high perk. They still have some of those for like high, yeah, or very high positions individuals. They still have those because they want to lock them in. And the way that they do it is they let them into that pension plan, but you have to service X amount of years with the company. So it's an investment for the company. We're going to give you this money over a span of 10 years or 20 years that you're going to work for us. So yeah, but that has nothing to do with Social Security. Yes. And that would not affect, that will not lower your Social Security. Yes. Now, if it's from outside, they will count it. Yeah, they will count it. So, yeah, spousal benefit, it's an additional benefit. A lot of people don't know it. And you could go and claim it. Now, if you did work, let's say that this individual's spouse actually did work. She did some work, but she didn't do enough, right? They will go and research her records and see how much her benefit will be. If her benefit, based on her own records, is higher than the half that she's entitled to on the spouse, then they will pay her benefits. Okay, if it's lower, they'll pay her the spousal benefit. Okay, now a lot of the times, I'm not gonna bash out Social Security, but a lot of times when people go and claim those benefits, you know, the Social Security assistant fails to ask the question, you know, are you married and is your husband or significant other receiving benefits, and for how long, and find out whether they qualify for spousal benefit. Because if you go to request your own benefit, then they will just count your own benefit, right? That's what you're applying for. So they won't even tell you that sometimes. Not saying all of them do. You know, there's some good people that do good deeds there. So, but I think it's important for you to know, or just pass on the information. The spouse is also entitled to get Medicare at 65. Okay, so you get the health benefits as well. I said maximum benefits. Yeah, benefit is reduced if taken earlier. This is a good one though. The ex-spouse can receive benefits. Same benefits as the spouse, and it won't affect it. So let's say that this individual married twice in his life. If the first marriage lasted more than 10 years, his ex-spouse is entitled to also up to 50% of that benefit. Okay, she will have to claim it, yes. And I've heard stories here in this office where, you know, clients of ours have said, "Oh my God, my friend or my cousin or whoever is in that situation," and they've never claimed that benefit. They're getting their own benefit, but they could have gotten a higher benefit based on their ex-spouse, right? So they automatically go and say it, so they can go to Social Security and claim it. And that might be an increase of $100, $200, $300, God knows, you know. So they can. Now, there are conditions. You have to be at least 62, and your marriage had to last at least 10 years. And you cannot remarry, by the way. Yeah, we had a case of someone that was married the first time, and she was not going to get married again. It had nothing to do with social, but she just didn't want to. But it happened to be that the ex-spouse had a higher income than her. So the half of his income was going to be better than her actual benefit. Yeah.
In this,
The main person.
working, the
Yes.
person passes away. Does the wife still?
That's a good. You're asking good questions. You guys are ahead of time, because guess what? My next slide was that benefit options. So that benefit options. What happens when I pass away? So there's a huge lump sum that Social Security pays. It's $255 when you pass away. Okay. However, if you were collecting Social Security, okay, if you were collecting Social Security, that monthly benefit goes onto your current spouse. If your spouse is 60 or older, then they can claim that widow benefit. So that means those $2,000 will go to your spouse. Okay. Now, if your spouse is younger than 60, but she's caring for a child under age, then they can also claim that benefit. Or if you have a child under the age of 18 or disabled, okay, they can also claim that benefit. Continue to get that benefit. All right. Now, the monthly benefits can also be received by the ex-spouse if marriage lasted 10 years. That also works. They will continue to get those benefits. Okay, without affecting the other spouse, by the way. Yep. So I know that, yeah, I know the ex-spouse might not like the new spouse and vice versa, but if that's already done, then, you know, that call could happen and say, hey, go claim, you will get the benefit. Nope, not at all. Yep, I know. Once again, I'm not the government, I'm the messenger. I'm giving you the information. So yes, that's important. Now that we're in this subject, and I think I know what your question mostly was, it's what's going to happen with the benefit of social. So let's explore this situation a little bit deeper, because this has to do with our planning. When we plan for retirement, we obviously know that we are not eternal. At some point, we're all going to pass, right? And when we pass, something will happen with that check. And this is what happens when you and your wife both worked, because this is on the case of one of them not working or having a lower income than the other and taking advantage of those benefits, right? But if you both worked and you had about, you know, the similar income over those years of work, you might end up having about the similar social benefits. So what we see a lot is one person might have $2,600 of income from social, and the spouse might have 2,000, right? Now that adds up to 4,600. That's a decent pension from social, right? For both of you. But when one of them passes away, one of the checks gets taken out. Always is the lower check. Okay? So if he was getting 2,600 and he was the one that passed away, she will automatically start receiving the 2,600. But then she will lose the 2,000 that she was getting. And we always like to pay attention to this because, as I always tell people, right? One person doesn't eat $2,000 a month. So that's going to be an impact in your financial situation that we have to be prepared for, right? Some people use life insurance to cover that gap. Some people have other investments or any other sources of income, but you want to be prepared for that because that's going to happen at some point. I'm going to talk to the guys in the room right now because by statistics, we will pass away earlier than they will, right? Life expectancy for us is 85. Life expectancy for them is 87. So we will go away before they do, okay? At some point, that's going to be their case. It could be the other way around, but, you know, the odds are most likely it will be us. Some guys will say that they kill us, but I don't believe that. I don't think so, right? They make our life way better. As a matter of fact, happy International Women's Day to all of you. I'm a son, I'm a husband, I'm a brother of a woman, and I think you ladies are amazing. What you do to our lives it's a lot. It's a lot. So yeah, any other questions in regards to the benefits? Nope. Good. Now, strategies, financial strategies. I was thinking a lot about this, and then the only thing I could think of was actually, there's a lot of things I could think of, but there was one thing that came to my mind directly, and it was a gentleman that was our client. He's from Central America. He was a mechanic, and he was one of these guys that was gonna continue to work until age 70, right? So when we met with him, his financial situation wasn't the best, okay? And his income from social was not gonna be enough to cover his expenses. But in his mind, he was already planning to go back to his, okay? So he was gonna move back to his country because the cost of living was way less, right? However, he was still active and he felt like he wanted to continue to work. But he wanted to protect his family and do different things at the same time. So he didn't know what to do with his Social Security check the minute that he started collecting. And he started collecting around the age of 66 and change, right? So what we did for him is we opened up a index universal life insurance policy so that he could stash that money into that policy. And in case anything would happen to him, his family will get a big death benefit. Okay? Now, if they didn't get a death benefit because he never passed and he was able to arrive to the 70 and just move along, he was going to cash out some money from this policy. And up to what I had, the value of that account, as you guys see here, was about $85,000. He had paid about $83,000 throughout the time that he had the policy. And the cash value was 85. Now, if you wouldn't touch that policy, that value will grow, will continue to grow. But in his case, he took that money out and he actually went away. Okay. But that is a way of you utilizing or using a strategy to pass on benefits to others tax-free, or to protect your money if you wanted to protect your money, right? So that's one option. There's other options going into the market. Some people like to take their social and just go and venture into buying stocks or mutual funds or stuff like that. I wouldn't suggest it at 67. That's why this seems like a more suitable option. Nowadays, there are other options. There are money markets and CDs. Interest rates have gone up. Those of you that are clients, you probably receive messages from us letting you know that Fidelity has a money market with like a 4.2% right now. So any money that's sitting in the bank doing nothing, it should be at Fidelity in the money market because it's paying 4.2%. I don't know who else is paying that much. Yeah, I do know. There was a client that showed me a CD that he's got paying 4.36%. But he locked his money for about a year, which is fine with it. But, you know, in a money market, you got that flexibility. I will suggest if you have money in savings in the bank doing nothing, call us, talk to someone in the team, get that money to Fidelity right away, because it's money that you can take out at any time if you want to. Okay? You can deposit as much as you want. You can take out as much as you want at any time. There's no restrictions. Okay? I think the maximum transaction that they have at Fidelity is like $250,000 to deposit into and about $100,000 to take out. And it goes from your bank directly to Fidelity and vice versa. So take advantage of that. That's another option for people that don't want to take that risk. Okay? But I thought this was good because of, you know, future income. If you wanted to spend that money or that will be tax-free, inflation protection, because it will grow a little bit of, you know, cash value, and legacy more than anything. In his case, his mindset was, if anything happens to me and I don't collect that social check for whatever time, I paid a lot of taxes, I'm never going to collect that money. So if I kick the bucket, at least my family will get that life insurance. That's not the intention. right? Because we don't ever want to die. But he prepared for that. And then he eventually ended up using that policy and taking the money away, walking away with it, right? So what to do now in regards to that, right? First question we always ask, are you retirement ready? If you don't feel you're retirement ready, you gotta come and visit us. And maybe it's reassurance what you need. Maybe we want to revise the plan. We always tell our clients, let's meet once a year at least. If not, let's meet about 4 times every quarter to see where you are. Because there are life-changing events that happen regularly. You know, there's newborns in the family, people get married or divorced, people get new jobs, change jobs, buy new properties, sell properties. Different things happen. And so we want to take into account those things, right? Can you maximize your Social Security money? If you are already collecting Social Security, we can help you. If you haven't started collecting Social Security, then yes, we can do an analysis and see where you fall. Bring that login so that we can tell you, hey, this will be the best time for you to collect Social Security. Okay? You have an income plan for my dream budget. So when we talk about Social Security, we're talking about that income that's going to come in, right? A family like this is going to get $4,600. Is that going to be enough to cover your lifestyle? For some of you, it would be. For some of you, it won't be, because your lifestyle is different. Everyone has different circumstances, right? There are people that, aside from their expenses, you know, they're still supporting family members outside of the U.S. There are people that retire and still have a mortgage to pay. You know, and not everyone gets there with the same circumstances. So we want to make sure that we plan for that dream budget. And we call it a dream budget because we want to make sure that it's the things that you want in retirement, right? Not what you need, but what you actually want. So having that extra dinner at night, every weekend, or having that extra vacation, so on and so forth. Are my assets properly allocated, right? We've seen the market shifting up and down last year. We're not talking about the market today. By the way, it was positive today. It recovered some of the losses from yesterday. I always give you guys an update on the market. As of now, what to expect on that? Federal Reserve is going to increase, I guess, 1/2 point now. It's not going to be 1/4 point anymore. So that's going to have the market shift probably down a little bit more before it actually starts climbing back up. But it has already climbed up since the beginning of the year. It's positive about almost 4%. Okay, at some point it was up 8%, but all these talk about interest rates and increasing and the numbers of jobs and the numbers of inflation have brought it down about 1/2 of what it went up. We still have faith that this year is going to be better, probably by the second half. Like I said from the beginning of the year, probably by the second half, we're going to see a better market. Okay, but are your assets properly allocated? I know that we've gotten in touch with most of our clients throughout last year and this year, but we're still got some clients pending reviews and seeing if we need to change allocations on their portfolio. If you're one of them, reach out to us. Okay, I'll tell you a short, quick story about a client that was here this week, and we have a very special person in our office that does an amazing job at quality control. So every time that we have an appointment with a client, she reaches out to the client and talks to them on a personal level to see what the level of service was from the advisor, from the team, what their experience was, right? And this person said something among these lines, because I was told afterwards. This person said, over the last 2 years, nobody has called me, nobody has talked to me, nobody has said anything to me about my investments, right? And so I'm going to quote her, because she, aside from being our employee, she is one of our clients. She started as one of our clients, but she's our employee now. And her reply was, you know, I am a client as well. I work here at Guerra, but I call and request my appointment, or I send a text message and request my appointment so that it happens, because it's my money. So I'm not telling you that we don't do that and we don't care and we don't call you and we don't reach out. But if you feel that we haven't reached out enough, just give us a call. We have an entire team at your service. You know, we got about 30 people in here at any time, and they will do whatever we need to do to get you into somebody's calendar, right? So I felt bad at first because I felt like we missed one person over the last 2 years that we didn't get in touch with. But then I remembered that during the meeting, he mentioned that we were going to have this seminar tonight and he was not going to be able to attend, which tells me that he does get our text messages. And if he gets our text messages, that means that he probably got text messages about coming to review his account and he just didn't pay attention to it. Because we do send those and you guys receive them, right? So check your portfolio if we need to. Tax-free strategies. For those of you, we spoke about taxes last time, so I wanted to, bring that up again. There are things such as the Roth IRAs that you can contribute, right? Tax season is almost ending, about a month away for the deadline. People that need to contribute to IRAs or SEP IRAs or simple IRAs, they can do that up to April 14. To get that contribution for the previous year and get the tax deduction if they need to. We also are now offering tax preparation services and tax planning services, okay? So we wanna make it an all-in-one in our house. We're starting on the tax side and we're starting to work with some of our clients in that end. The accountant we're working with is Danny Warren, who is the person that does the taxes for Sebastian, Mauro, Guerra, and us. And so he's the one spearheading this program, okay? There are two people to contact in regards to this. One is Miguel Rodriguez and the other one is Maximiliano Paez. So you can reach out to them if you want to be part of that or if you want to explore that. Or just call the office and find out, hey, who do I get in contact with in regards of the taxes and preparing the taxes? I can tell you that they're going to request most likely your income tax from last year, and they're going to ask you a few questions, or they might send you a questionnaire for you to fill out so that we can know what points to tackle in regards of taxes, or what information do you want, or do you want to get, or you want to address on that, okay? Every person's case is different. Every tax situation is different. So it's not a one-for-all thing, and I wish it was. It never works that way. So we got to look at each case independently. Is my estate planning in order, right? Have you done a trust, a will, powers of attorney, things that I always mention, and we in the meetings mention constantly, right? Review those powers of attorney, those wills, those trusts. If you did one a while ago, just make sure that you check it. Maybe you want to include more beneficiaries. Maybe you want to take some beneficiaries that are no longer here. Maybe you want to take that property that you already sold that's no longer in here, right, in your portfolio. So all those changes you got to pay attention to. Well, can you do this by yourself? Some people think they can, but otherwise you got us. That's why you have us. So I encourage you to use the services of the office, right? That's what we're here for. And last but not least, who else do you know that needs information like this, right? We're doing this, we're transmitting this on Zoom, on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, so that other people can actually get to see information that they're not exposed to because they probably couldn't make it, traffic and so on and so forth. We live in Miami, I understand. I love seeing people here, by the way. I love when you guys come. So don't stop coming. But if for whatever reason you can't make it, or you have a friend or you have a colleague, send them the link. They might be able to go in. All they need to do is put their information to actually access the event. But I think the link is only sent when the event has already started, if that is the case. And it's only sent to our clients so that our clients get that benefit, right? As usual, you have a yellow card in your package. If you want to get an appointment, just check out the appointment and request what it is that you want, right? So that we can get that done for you. If you're not our client and you want to come see us as well, we have that. So, or give it to someone that wants to come see us and let them know that, you know, we're open for business here. Otherwise, I really want to thank you for tonight. I hope it was useful. I hope you enjoyed the night as much as I did. Okay, learn a lot. Thank you for trusting us. We continue to work and just develop. I don't know if they had any questions online. It seems like they didn't, but thank you for the people that were watching us as well. Sorry that you couldn't be here. You couldn't enjoy the wine and the food and the laughs and everything else that I was able to, but you guys did. All right. We do this every 2 weeks. We do one in English, one in Spanish. So for Spanish speakers, if they want to come in 2 weeks, we're going to do about the same subject. So just we started doing that so that people wouldn't say that we're using only English or Spanish, or, you know, so that way we can provide that information to everybody. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you very much.
Good. How are you?
Good.
How are you doing? Okay.
Yeah. Look how on this
For you. This person didn't work or no other income. What if, I mean, we're both the big income and my social security.
Mm-hmm.
And, but,